I should start this video with an honest note, just so you know where I'm coming from. I know next to nothing in regard to stocks. It's a topic that at the very least I'm interested in learning more about, but even when I've been approached with information, it's kind of befuddling to me. From what I do understand, maybe I'm not in the best position where it would make the most sense for me to partake right now, but I have a lot of people in my general surroundings that are active in the stocks and trading atmosphere, and so, or just not from like working in it, they're just, a part of the game, I guess. And it seems like, an advantageous practice. I just need to learn more. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm virtually uninformed on the practice of stocks trading and stuff like that. But I am familiar with news headlines. I keep an eye on the current modern day occurrences in the world. And the story of which this piece is focused on. Now, this is, I believe, a biographical adaptation of events last year. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's biographical. Yeah, they call it a documentary, so it is an adaptation of the phenomenon with GameStop. For those of you who are aware of it, and of course I'll reference a headline in case maybe you're not, there was this big, to-do I think it was last year in 2021, about all the GameStop trading, that GameStop stock was, through the roof, essentially, and it was a practice by, I believe, people on Reddit, if I'm right, or maybe some other online forums, people that just maybe came in the circles of what was going on. People got all invested with buying up GameStop stock prices. I believe in particular to stick it to hedge funds. I think that was the motive. I might have that wrong, and I'll reference a piece I think best establishes what exactly happened in case I'm muddling some of the details, or if you want more of a storyline than what I'm giving you. This is basically a biographical adaptation from my understanding of what happened, with that phenomenon, from at least, I would imagine, hopefully a informed and respectable lens. We'll see. I mean, you could have a project here based on maybe the side of GameStop. I don't know. I'd have to see who, Netflix or the people behind this documentary would aim of taking or putting the focus on. Is it a fair view? Maybe is it skewed a certain way? Projects can have that. Even documentaries can have that direction to them. We'll see, maybe perhaps how objective it is of a lens. But let's go ahead and take a look at this project. In case you want to get a better baseline than what I provided for you, this is the official synopsis according to IMDb. A look at the layers of intrigue from the supercharged power of digital communities to the gamification of trading. Forgive me if I mispronounced that last word. So again, basically that's the gist of what I offered to you. But it's a broader look, I guess, at the practice of the GameStop phenomenon, maybe the behavior of it, perhaps. Maybe part of the direction of this is to disincentivize it. I mean, stock trading is a risk, at least from what I'm understanding. It isn't, I guess, to some extent, gambling. Not in the sense of like what you would do with like a lottery, but there is, I've heard stocks described that way from people in my circles. It'll be interesting, again, to see the angle portrayed. I have some ideas based on that presentation and where I think this project could go, especially with maybe the parties involved. I don't know for sure, but we'll see. I mean, you got multiple sides to this issue. You got people that are going to be pro, people that are going to be against this. We'll see how Netflix, or the practice of it. I mean, again, it's risky. We'll see how Netflix handles establishing that presentation with the official trailer, which I will launch right now.
The pandemic hit. All these people were all of a sudden interested in making money in the stock market.
I had no idea how to buy and
yeah,
sell.
part of me is like, I wish I knew more about stocks to get involved. At the time, I wouldn't mind a payday.
Like this crazy group of people. You saw people losing tons of money and making tons of money.
They love the game.
I don't even know the last.
In some ways, I'm in financial dire straits, so it would have been advantageous to me to at least humor the possibility of getting involved if I knew more.
These hedge funds were planning on this thing to go bankrupt, and all of a sudden it's not.
GameStop just went nuclear. What just happened?
Elon tweets out.
He's a big daddy,
That's he did, I remember that.
Really fun for us.
The sentiment was one of revenge, robbing from the rich and giving to the poor.
They have big swagger. There's a new sheriff in town. The market broke and we're the new market.
The losses for short sellers were in the tens of billions of dollars.
On Robinhood was gonna put another like $5 or $6 grand in, and I was like, wait a minute, where's the buy button?
I got rid of my Robinhood account because of their shenanigans.
Right?
We immediately began speculating that there was a shady deal being made.
There's something bigger here. Let's find out what's really going on here.
The playing field is so unlevel.
The house always wins if you're unprepared. And they're playing against the house. I mean, what is
There's a big move. Again, the Occupy Wall Street sentiments. It was very interesting to hear, again, the coverage and, the conversation on it.
let's destroy the economy.
Well, okay. It was fine, just that ending. I don't know if I don't have that much respect for Taylor Lorenz just based on her behavior as of late on Twitter. Side note, it's not exactly related. I don't know about her view on the GameStop thing. It's just, well, I don't know. Libs of TikTok, again, unrelated to the GameStop issue. The Libs of TikTok, her pursuance of certain YouTubers given the Amber and Johnny trial. Yeah, there's reasons I don't really have the most respect for Taylor Lorenz as a journalist. And I can say that as somebody who did work as a staff writer for a semester at my college. I did partake in the journalist atmosphere. And I'll tell you, it gave me a bit of a window in regard to my viewpoint on the modern media market. But, I mean, that's a conversation for another video. I've lightly discussed that before on more relevant projects. I'll save that conversation separate, just as a side note. Other than that, the rest of this project, I mean, again, let's see how fair of a view it is. From what I'm seeing, I guess it is more of a broad look. Now, the project could play a different way, depending on when it comes out. I am a fan of Netflix documentaries, and the quality of it oftentimes is attributed here, so I'm definitely keen on watching it. And from what I can see in the presentation, I mean, the synopsis, again, I had my theories on, because there are so many sides at play with this. And the GameStop thing, was a complicated endeavor. I think what it really was, again, they were saying about the Robin Hood, not the company, but the Robin Hood practice of, giving to the rich from giving to the poor from the rich, and the practices of hedge funds and the shorting. There were a lot of things that came to light through that GameStop situation. And I remember, many people that I listened to within the media space talking about it. Tim Pool offered a lot of coverage. I listened to him pretty regularly. And so it was a fascinating phenomenon to at least witness, even if perhaps, again, I'm not perhaps the best voice on the practices of the stock market. It's something I need to get a little more familiarized with. But many of the motives that seem to come from the Reddit crowd and the people getting involved with the GameStop practice were fascinating to at least consider the magnitude, and then to see the result of what happened, and even some of the political implications of what I saw, and perhaps the shenanigans of, let's say, the Robin Hood company. Again, I shut down my account after their behavior. Again, I'll include information down below if you want to read more. I may include I'll try and include it down below if I remember, but I'll reference it at least here in the video, so there's at least those points where you can reference what I'm saying if you want to get a better perspective than what I'm providing. It's an interesting documentary. I could see it, again, maybe going in many different directions, because, again, there's multiple sides to this, and perhaps it is more of an objective look. We'll see. I think it comes across to me, at least in the presentation, and maybe I'm not giving the best, summation on this. I don't know. It's just my point of view on what I just witnessed. It comes across to me as a fair lens. When the project comes out, this is just a trailer. It could play very differently. There could be an angle to this that Netflix and the people behind the project may more so want to provide to the viewer for an underlying motive. But from what I'm seeing, it seems to be balanced. There's equal recognition, it seems, to both sides, right? The people involved with the GameStop, or the investment side with the Reddit stuff, and then perhaps analysts of what was going on. Maybe you got some people from hedge companies who are like this, hedge funds, that this isn't really fair, because they want to keep their practices involved. Again, from what I was hearing about the shorting practices, it seemed quite devious. Even, again, as somebody like me who does not have the best understanding of stocks, I could tell, it seems a bit rigged, at least in the way, people are playing with it. But it's going to be fascinating. I mean, again, like I said, the coverage here, it seems, not just with the people involved in offering, interview accounts and witness statements. The range of what it's covering, from the financial side to even the meme economy. I mean, that was funny. I mean, there's a bit of I'd say a comedic flair to this project as well. I kind of like that. Again, maybe I think it's going to appeal to people, perhaps, a project like this. With documentaries, film is subjective. Everybody has their preferred genres. But this is, a biographical story. I'm not sure many people like documentaries, including myself. But, there are also probably many people who prefer more, the fictional stories. So I'm not exactly sure what this will have in regard to reach. Perhaps the relevancy of the GameStop story and the timeliness of it might bring people in. Maybe it's just a deeper fascination for people who actually follow the story, being like, I want to learn more. I want to get inside perspectives from people who were involved with that maybe better than I was and just reading a news headline. I could see it, again, bringing in a number of people, and perhaps, again, the categories of what it's honing in on, the memes, Elon Musk's tweet, I remember that. I could see this appealing to a lot of people, or perhaps the political implications, again, that basis of the Occupy Wall Street movement that I remember Tim Pool talked so much about in his videos. I could see this project appealing to a lot of people, whereas, other documentaries might not necessarily have the most potent reach. It might depend on the subject matter, it might depend on the overall, feeling of the viewer, of course. But I could see potential that this could be a pretty strong feature for Netflix. And based on its quality, I can certainly speak to what I've seen in the past from their documentary market. It seems like a competent release. Again, we'll see the angle where the full project materializes, but at least from what I'm seeing here, it seems pretty balanced to me. Maybe you have a different interpretation, maybe you have a different outlook on this, or maybe you have something similar. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below and your evaluation on the project. Looks interesting. I'll definitely give it a look, when it comes out. When I have to renew my Netflix account. It's a bit hard, because Netflix, how many streaming services are out these days? Everything is so pricey. So for me, I'm like, I'd have to watch this, but I don't have my Netflix active right now. I rebooted it for Stranger Things, so I'm like, I'm gonna let it go, and then I have other projects to watch on other networks. I tend to parse out the streaming services I'm with from, if I'll be on, let's say Paramount Plus for a time. I'm on Disney Plus annually, so that's a bit different. But let's say, I'm on Paramount Plus for a bit, and then maybe something new is on Peacock, I'll, subscribe to that one, and then, maybe something new is on Netflix, and I'll hop over. So I kind of tend to jump around with streaming services, so I would need to renew this if I want to watch it, and I probably will at some point. I don't know when that'll be. I'll hopefully try and make it soon if, it's an easy time for me actually for finances that way. But I could see this project doing very well, Let's see what the final result entails, but from what I can see from a trailer, it's a pretty strong debut. I'm sure Netflix will have a pretty good audience reach with this one. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.